What's going on, guys? The Arid Lord is here. Welcome back to another Walking Dead vlog. And this one is for the last of our Season 10 predictions. For the second half, the last trailer of content, teaser, whatever you want to call it, has been released. And it's really not that much. But for all of you, I'm sure you are well aware that we have less than 7 days until the momentous second half of Season 10 returns. And there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot we're going to be unpacking. I guess I'll put that in the future tense for this second half. And I predict a number of things just right off the bat. There will obviously, or ironically, be a bat. I assume Lucille will return. I also assume that Negan will portray the Whisperers in some way, and that his plan to become some sort of traitorous double agent will be revealed, and we will see him either kill Alpha or just undermine the Horde and stop Alpha's plans altogether. We will also see the departure of Michonne. I don't know how they're going to pull this off and if I will be satisfied with the outcome when all is said and done. But I hope it's satisfying to the fans. I hope that we have some sort of proper send-off, very much like how Rick left that entire episode that was just for Rick Grimes. But I feel like Michonne's departure is going to be very much in the realm of the Whisperer storyline, the plot line, unless she finds some evidence that points towards Rick being out there. Because those are really, we've discussed this in previous vlogs, where I think Michonne's going to go, if she's even going to survive. I've talked about how it's either going to go one of two ways. She's either going to die due to the Whisperer conflict with the Horde, in some capacity, or she's going to find evidence of Rick's, like him being alive, just basically his survival from the incident that occurred on the bridge, and she's going to then go off on her own private mission that's going to be separate from the show, and that will be picked up in the movies in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so the only thing about that is we don't really know how would she find evidence to suggest that Rick is alive. The closest thing I can say is that when she's on this naval boat with the new character Virgil, who was at Oceanside, and he wants to go home, and in return he's going to give Michonne some weaponry to help her fight the Whisperers. She's going to bring whatever this weaponry is back. We don't really know what it is. It was just vaguely mentioned in the mid-season finale a couple months ago. But I feel like whatever this place is, like it seems just obscure enough to have some sort of greater connection to the helicopter group, because this seems familiar. And I know it's not Scott Gimple, I know it's Angela Kang, but this reminds me of like the Junkyard Group's odd presence during the Negan conflict with the Saviors. Like, it just didn't, I was like, why are these junkyard people here? Like, it doesn't, why do we need these mercenaries in the middle of this war? It added an extra layer to the already conflicted atmosphere, because you had so many groups running around, and they just added another layer of complexity. But then come to find out that Jadis has been doing deals with the helicopter group, them bringing her supplies and bringing people A or B in return for supplies, and they used that whole cog, that story plot point, they used it to then allow Rick to depart the show by then saying, okay, everything that's been going on with the Junkyard dealing with this group, we're going to have Rick go to that group, and there's something much larger that group is doing. So Gimple put those cogs in motion back in like it was the second half of season 7 when the Junkyard Group was introduced, And nothing, and that was always a question that we had. Why did we not have more storyline with the Junkyard Group? There were some episodes where we saw Jadis. Obviously, Simon murdered like all of them except for Jadis. But there wasn't enough. Obviously, that was a problem with season 7 and 8, that you had so many groups that not enough characters, people, plot lines got fleshed out. And the Junkyard was one of them, but I guess you could say that they're going to address it in the movies and maybe this new second series, Stranger Things, in the Walking Dead with young kids. So the way they're setting up, to bring the point back home, it seems like this Virgil naval boat plot line is feeding into some similar territory as the Junkyard Group was. And I feel like this is, and especially since Michonne is the centerpiece of this, she alone is going on this mission, that definitely screams that something that she does or sees here is going to lead to her departure. That's just my overall prediction. Now, to get to some of these images that we have here, this is a 30-second teaser that was released a few days ago. There is nothing of any great significance that comes from this. There are some interesting shots we get from the battlefield. Obviously, they keep hyping up this battlefield of the survivors outside of Hilltop and the Horde, the flaming arrows. We've seen some of these pictures before, but there's a very ominous image with somebody, it looks like Negan, with either Lucille or that bat that Brandon made for him, Lucille 2.0, I guess you could say, not that there's two of them. You see him walking the battlefield. It seems like during the daytime. There's arrows stuck in the ground. There's Whisperer corpses, zombie corpses on the ground. I don't know if this is after a great victory or a great defeat that the survivors have suffered. Because we know that the comics, there's a big moment in the comics where there is a major confrontation that happens at Hilltop, and there are certain things that go down. The aftermath of which, again, they could go many ways. They could kill some characters off, and this is certainly an image that comes from that. But interestingly enough, Negan is not present, nor is Alpha, actually. Negan is not present for that war, and Alpha is already dead by this point. So we don't really know. Again, I'm interested to see how they're going to handle all this, because Alpha should already technically be dead if they're following the comics after her brief interactions with Negan. And we certainly see in the next coming episodes that there's a lot of Alpha and Negan confrontation, dialogue, character moments. So we're going to get that, which, as a fanboy of both villains, I mean, you've got probably the two greatest villains in the series having conversations. That's just going to be fun in its own right, but for the greater plot line of what's going on at the Hilltop and so on and so forth, how does that play out? Got a lot of different angles to figure here. So, another interesting image we have is Ezekiel, Yumiko, and Eugene on horseback on the highway. Now, I'm pretty sure they've used this highway like 100 times. I think this is, in terms of filming, this is the same highway from season 2, where Rick was laying down on the RV with the sniper looking at all the walkers coming down the street. And so it's because they've been in Sonoya, Georgia for years, like almost 10 years at this point. And so they've reused these locations, but I'll give them credit because this technically takes place where they are now with Alexandria and Hilltop. They've been in Virginia. Story-wise, they've been in Virginia since season 5. If you guys remember, after the cops at the hospital storyline in the first half of season 5, they were going to Shire Wilt's estate, where I forget the kid's name. It's the kid who got eaten by the zombies in the revolving door. I forget his name, but they were going there to bring him home and maybe see if there was some semblance of society up in Virginia, because they had exhausted all of their resources in Georgia. This was post-terminus, post-prison. So they haven't been in Georgia since season 5. And think of how many seasons have gone by now. And they've been in this area. And with the time jump, 6 years, you're talking 7.5 years being in this area. So this is definitely more their home than anything in Georgia ever was. So that definitely has to be established. So where do I think they're going on this exotic trip? I think that they're going to the Commonwealth because, well, I mean, knowledge of the comics is one. But if we take just what we've seen from the show so far, Eugene had that one conversation with the girl on the radio. And we can definitely discern that she must be from some well-off place. And so, how is that going to go down? Will she eventually want to meet up? And we know Ezekiel is suffering from some sort of cancer that will, eventually kill him. And I've seen the popular theory that this, if it's the Commonwealth, if that is assuming what it is, do they have the facilities to get King Ezekiel on chemo, radiation therapy, some type of advanced treatment that can help his cancerous growth? And I would have to say, I mean, it's a stretch. I mean, with how long the apocalypse has been around, could you really scavenge practitioners, physicians who could really get that kind of material? I mean, you've got literature and books that have obviously survived, that are still around, that can give you insight into how this treatment goes. But, I mean, with society a shell of its former self, I don't know how well those procedures would necessarily be pulled off. So I have a little doubt in my head about that, but it's worth venturing a thought at least. And then we have so we know these two shots that we've seen. So we have Alpha walking towards this little shack, and then in the very next shot we have Negan directly behind her. And I don't know, Alpha doesn't, I said this in a previous vlog, she didn't look too well here. Negan doesn't look too well. I don't exactly know what they're doing or where they're going, or I don't know. I'm not sure. I've seen some other comments, because apparently, now this is just what I've heard, one of the upcoming Walking Dead episodes has like a sexual rating to it. Like there's an extra rating about sexual content or something, which is, I mean, you've had risque content in the show before. I mean, trying to think of some that you've had. There was Rick and Michonne hooked up in season 6. Remember when Jesus walks in on them and they're doing the deed? I mean, they've had intimate moments between characters before. So I don't see the reasoning for this, though. I mean, Negan is, if he is obeying the word of the Whisperers for the time being, he's still subservient. He's not in any position to be calling the shots unless he's trying to gain some sort of useful information. So I'm curious as to how this is going to go down. I don't know. I just am really excited to see how these two interact. This is going to be... Just as a fan of both of these characters and having met the actors who played both of them, I just think this is going to be a lot of fun. A lot. But who knows? We don't know how this is going to go. But I'm looking at some other shots we have. There's Judith and Daryl in what looks like a prison cell, kind of crying. She looks obviously upset. I don't know if they're in like the prison of Hilltop or it's Alexandria, because and some of the war shots, the battle sequence from Hilltop, it looks like a lot of Alexandrian characters are there protecting the phalanx, like the shield wall. So would that lead you to believe they're at Hilltop or Alexandria? It's obviously one or the other, of course, because those are the two communities we have left. But going forward with some of the extra shots here. Yeah, again, very excited for the battle sequence. I don't know what this sequence is here. And now some of the teasers are obviously spoiling some of the characters who make it out of the cave. Because we have Kelly here with a baby. And then we have Alden. And it looks like they're trapped in some, like a car or a bus or something. There's walkers banging on the window. So already off the process of elimination, like Jerry, apparently that wasn't meant to be in the trailer. Jerry was in that shot in the battle outside of Hilltop, and then apparently AMC like edited it so Jerry wasn't in it. But I'm like, well, that then confirms A, you didn't want people to know that, because some of their previous previews showed Jerry kind of stuck in the hole trying to get out of the cave, and you were like, oh, is he going to be a casualty of Carol's stupid decision making? So I guess not, because he survived, as was spoiled by AMC itself. But again, that's fine. If I'm gonna be spoiled by anyone, it's fine if it's AMC. I know I've talked extensively about Walking Dead spoilers and my feelings about them, but I won't venture down that road at the present moment. I just wonder for this one image, I'm wondering what's going on with the crying baby, with Kelly, with Alden. Shit seems to be going down. And then probably our final shot that we got here, which confirms something to me. It confirms the image of Michonne holding Lucille is not fake. Because if you recall, they had that teaser image for the first half of Season 10. That was the bonus shot at the end. Because remember, every trailer has like an extra, after they show the sequence and then it says Walking Dead, and then it fades out, there's an extra shot at the end of the trailer, which always previews what's going to happen in the long term. So I've used examples like this before, but in Season 6's trailer, you saw Dwight talking to Daryl in the woods, which obviously foreshadowed the Savior plotline. In Season 7, you had Tara at Oceanside, which foreshadowed the Oceanside stuff. I'm trying to remember. Oh, in Season 8, you had that dream sequence that Carl had where nobody knew what it meant, but Rick as an old man waking up in the bed, and people were like, oh my gosh, there were different theories, like, oh, was it Rick waking up from the coma? But it ended up being Carl's dream that he had as he's bleeding out, talking about the future he wants to have for everybody. And then Season 9 did the same thing. There was a bonus sequence where Rosita and Eugene are hiding from a bunch of walkers, and then you hear some of the walkers whisper, and that tells you that the Whisperer plotline was coming up. So for Season 10, to get back to the point, there's the shot of Michonne holding what looks like the original Lucille. This looks like the original Lucille. And she, in this clip, she brings it back and swings it. Now, who is she swinging it at? Is she swinging it at Negan? Is she swinging it at maybe Alpha, one of the Whisperers? I don't know. Maybe Michonne sees Negan on the battlefield with Alpha and considers him a traitor when he was trying to prove himself, I suppose, and now she's gonna get vengeance, and yeah, here we go. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I'm glad that this clip wasn't for nothing, though, because I thought that it was. I said that in my review. Of this first half. I was like, why? Like, we had that bonus clip and they didn't have one sequence with it in the first 8 episodes of Season 10. So was that for naught, or for some other saved purpose? The latter was true. So, Okay, yes, and we got 6 days. So I'm filming this on Monday, and we got 6 days until season 10. Finally, freaking, I don't know why. This feels like the longest wait we've had because I'm thinking, like, it was like the first or second week of November. So it has been almost 4 months since we've had Walking Dead content, and it feels like such a long time. I don't know why this wait feels so long. It feels much longer than I guess it should. And I don't know necessarily why that is because 2 years ago we had to wait for season 8 to come back in late February. Um, but you know what? Again, I'm ready to jump back into content. I'm gonna start the reaction videos and I'm gonna see what the reaction to the reaction videos is because assessing my content, this is obviously long-term stuff I'll talk to you guys about later, but just kind of assessing where my channel is. I mean, this December will be my 10-year channel anniversary, which is kind of crazy. And again, a lot of the stuff I did back in the day was video game content. I hadn't yet started The Walking Dead, but I'd say The Walking Dead has now been more than half of my content now, because if we're saying like 2014, 2015 is when I started The Walking Dead, that would mean half of my channel's history has been dedicated to vlogs and reaction videos and convention footage and all sorts of crazy stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna assess kind of where I'm at because again, just even though some people are dropping off the show, I still like tackling the universe. And I feel like even with the drop off, AMC is going all in. Like they have this new series that's only 2 seasons long. They somehow have a 6th season of Fear the Walking Dead. They've got the 10th season, and they've already confirmed an 11th season for the original Walking Dead. At some point, maybe in the year 2455, we'll have the release of the Rick Grimes movies. I mean, you don't want to let Andrew Lincoln get too old. Or if you let too much time pass, he might say, hey, actually, I don't feel like doing anything in The Walking Dead anymore. I enjoy retirement. Sorry, not going to do it. So there's still there's more stuff going on with the Walking Dead universe than ever before, but I know just due to the fact that the show has been on for so long and some people disagreed with the direction it went in the past, it doesn't have the giant, like the season 5 and 6 viewership when my reaction videos would get hundreds of thousands of views and there would be constant discussion about the show and the direction it was heading. So I'm interested, maybe there's enough action and cool stuff going down in this second half that people are like, oh man, I gotta reinvest. And I still say that season 9 for Angela Kang's first season of a showrunner, like that season was great. I made vlogs saying like, did she save The Walking Dead? Like I was singing her praises of how great of a job she did taking the reins from Scott Gimple after people had all sorts of reservations and really didn't even know if they wanted to give this show a chance. But she did a great job, and I don't know, I wish more people would give the show a chance. But it again, like when a show's been on for like, it's in the number, season 10, like that's just a lot. Like, Game of Thrones didn't get there. I mean, that's a different story as to why they didn't they could have gone to 10 seasons. But yeah, a lot of shows don't. Breaking Bad, one of my other favorite shows. I'm trying to think of some, but some of the shows I'm watching now are still progressing. I'll run through, and maybe that's a cool vlog I'll make, like other shows I've been watching that are not The Walking Dead. Because really the only shows that I've talked about on this YouTube channel have been Better Call Saul, which years ago I did vlogs about it. Game of Thrones, back when it was running, which it's not anymore. And obviously The Walking Dead, which has been my main, The Walking Dead universe. Because, Fear the Walking Dead, I've done vlogs for that. So those 3 shows are the only ones I've covered. I did like 1 or 2 review vlogs for Stranger Things, but I feel like there are other shows I could discuss with you guys that I've been invested in. And I would like your opinion on those and what you guys think, because I definitely think I have to expand my show watching palette and not just stay locked on one show. As great as Walking Dead has been, those are just some of my extra opinions. So, all right. Before the vlog gets too long, I'm going to log off. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know what you think about the teaser, and how are you watching season 10? Are you having some sort of freaking launch party, or what's are you excited? That's all I want to know. Are you excited for this new season? Okay? All right. Thank you. See you later, and enjoy.